You might think that the media would be glad to have this baby arrive so that they could return their attention to other, much more pressing issues.
I have a serious question. When do we get to find out the name of the baby?
What is his name?
George is the name everyone seems to be touting.
George is probably a favourite.
They do things a little differently here in England.
Which brings us to a much larger question here. Why do we? Why has coverage of the royal baby been like a news screensaver for the whole last week? Earlier today, CNN and MSNBC literally aired the baby's cannon salute in its entirety. Now, think about what that actually means. That is 3 solid minutes of this. I think it was around the time of the 48th cannon blast that you realise, oh, now I get it. In response to the royal birth, the news has gone on maternity leave. We'll be right back.
Oh, man, that's more fun than you can shake a microchip at.
The entire 3 minutes of the baby's gun salute?
That's just amazing. Like, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, in that 3 minutes, they could be talking about 300,000 Canadian homeless, 1 in 5 Canadian children going hungry. How about 14 million empty homes with 1.5 million American homeless?
But wait a minute, that's just bad news. We don't want to talk about that. We want to entertain people.
So check this out.
Why does it seem that mainstream news does everything but cover, well, actual news?
It is about who can generate the most controversy, who can sound the dumbest, yet loudest. So dumbest yet loudest. In other words, you're creating a soap opera on a news program, and you have villains and you have heroes. You have heroines. You have the knight in shining armor. You might have the nasty bitch. You know, those are the memes, the soap opera characters that they draw upon.
With a 6-year ratings low, MSNBC took a plunge, devoting nonstop NCIS-style coverage to the George Zimmerman trial. And they weren't alone. Fox and CNN followed suit in this style of high ratings and courtroom drama, rather than the real courtroom news taking place at the Bradley Manning trial. And we know how the mainstream news media covers politics. It's just like Sunday Night Football, your team versus my team. And then there's celebrity gossip, ripped straight from your favorite entertainment shows. All of this is having an effect on people's faith in news and journalism. A recent Pew poll shows that public opinion ranks just above business execs and attorneys, the lowest percentage of Americans since the study began, that journalists contribute to the overall good of society. Is the mainstream media dumbing down America? If it's really all about the ratings, a better question should be, are we capable of deciphering real news from just a ratings grab? In Washington, Margaret Howell, RT.
Just a ratings grab, and now that the CBC is under firm government control, we can see they'll go the direction of Fox News as well.
Well, of course, they'll become a government mouthpiece.
But, you know, mainstream reporters being slightly above lawyers in their contribution to society.
Wow.
I mean, a 6-year low in ratings, and, of course, Russia Today getting 100 times as many hits on its website as CNN.
I think they've hit 1 billion hits.
That's crazy. Of course, that's why we're here. We are not legacy media. I'm Darren Howard.
And I'm Robert Nisbet.
You're tuned into our look at propaganda and the way the news media is being distracted.
And also controlled. There's a reason for what they report.
Okay, so we've got a story. Remember, check our facts, use your intellect, because we're on your side. Obama, right here at Radio Free Canada. Thanks for tuning in.
I do think there is a real risk of the executive exerting, in effect, a tyranny over the media. If you have a situation where US journalists are having to think about stepping outside the United States in order to leak documents, or not even leaking them. We discussed Jonathan's situation earlier. Those documents haven't been put out there in the public domain. Why? I think because, like many news organizations in the US, they are terrified of the wrath of the Department of Justice. Leaked documents, leaked material, so long as they don't compromise national intelligence, are of vital, vital importance to a healthy democracy, because they prevent politicians and government agencies from hiding behind fabrications and lies. And they do that. That's the world that we live in. And, the Snowden documents, they're uncomfortable for the United States and problematic. I get that. But, out here in the wider world, the uproar about this revelation that the NSA spies on literally everyone is extraordinary. And as I'm sure you know, Amy, huge engagement from governments in Europe here, and possibly action by the European Union against the United States and about technology companies based in the US for allowing these kind of backdoor accesses and so on. So, do we really want a situation where journalists in the United States are afraid to publish leaks which are of vital importance to the health of the body politic? Because that really seems to be where we're heading right now. I think that's a very, very worrying situation.
So the crackdown on whistleblowers, the fact that they're actually going after journalists with a vengeance, is probably one of the reasons why that the news just does fluff pieces.
Yeah, and stand up, guys. Come on, grow a pair. Because really, that's what you're there for. You're there to report.
But your job's on the line. If you don't do what the corporate masters say you report on, then you're out the door.
Right here in Canada, the Black Press Group released a memo that the major media is paying attention to because they've been told not to do a positive story on Aboriginal negotiations or the Indian Act. And they've stuck to that. We've got that loaded up online. And of course, whistleblowers and EI got stomped on by Canadians.
Exactly. Oh, wait. Royal baby.
This is even better than a panda. Check it out.
Breaking news, guys. Did you hear? A person in the world just had a baby. It's a miracle.
The most watched door in the world. Kate Middleton apparently went through that door earlier today. She is inside in labor.
I'm here in the delivery room with April. She's about to have a baby, and she's doing something that's almost unheard of in the United States. She's taking laughing gas.
Celebrations ringing out across the UK, welcoming the future king.
That's right, folks. The future king was born, but of course I'm sure you knew he was on his way, considering how he got an AP News alert when the Royal Duchess had her first contraction. Yes, apparently there's nothing more important going on in the world than the birth of one baby. And really, wouldn't it be nice to give the same media attention to the thousands of children that die every hour from hunger, poverty, or preventable disease? But that's right, those kids are not lucky enough to be born into the bloodline of royalty. But while this story was pulling in about 2,200 tweets per minute, many other things have actually been happening that affect people on this planet. How about the fact that for the last 2 years, radioactive water from Fukushima's nuclear site has been leaking into the Pacific Ocean continuously. And just now, Tokyo's power company, TEPCO, finally admitted it. TEPCO's spokesperson issued a statement this week saying that, quote, "We would like to offer our deep apology for causing grave worries for many people, especially for people in Fukushima. It's a terrifying prospect that will undoubtedly affect everyone on this planet." But instead of having a meaningful discussion about the dangers of nuclear energy, news networks are far more concerned with how much hair is on that little baby's head. According to the media, learning that is much more important than the news that actually affects our lives.
Boy, did she hit that one on the money.
Oh, she certainly did. I mean, have you heard about Fukushima?
If I wasn't on the internet, if I wasn't at Radio Free, I wouldn't hear, that we had a radiation, a Geiger counter right here in Kelowna, British Columbia that showed that we had radioactive rain.
Yeah.
Where was the news on that?
Well, they're not going to touch that. That would scare people.
No, that would be like the news.
Well, yeah. But that's not their job. You're under the misconception that the news is supposed to inform people.
Well,
no,
yeah.
It's supposed to calm them down so they're not worried about what's really going on.
That's right, and that's exactly what it's come. But, of course, we've seen the statistics and the way their ratings have gone down. And this story that you've got here talking about the reality of real children.
Exactly.
Instead of born rich, born in Britain. Check it out.
Being a child is supposed to be all fun and games, but in Britain it's not. The Children's Society's annual Good Childhood report has found that the well-being of young people is declining in Britain. They spoke to 42,000 children aged 8 to 17, and they've described the findings as startling and incredibly worrying. They say young people are facing very real problems. They are less likely to be happy about school or their appearance. They feel less safe at home and even worry about money in the future. Childhood well-being was on the rise for 14 years until 2008 when the recession hit. Charities like Mindful, who provide support, information and advice about mental health and emotional well-being to 11 and 17-year-olds, say the financial crisis has made things worse. The report found that British children are worse off compared to most other developed nations. A string of other reports have found the same. In 2007, a major United Nations report ranked the UK bottom for child well-being. It found British children are poorer, less happy and more insecure. They are more pressurised and commercially vulnerable as well. This can have worrying consequences. 1 in 10 UK children aged between 5 and 16 have a clinically diagnosed mental health disorder. Mindful's own research has found that 1 in 5 have experienced symptoms of depression. If growing up was never easy, things are certainly more difficult now. Nagus Mobalari, Press TV, London.
Well, yeah.
Well, one baby's not going to be unhappy.
One baby was born rich. Who cares about 10% of the children population in Britain?
By the way, we made a gift to the royal baby as well, as a nation.
What?
Apparently, Mr. Harper, on his own initiative, decided to donate a whole whack of money to some charity of their choice.
And I'm kind of wondering because what on earth about the 1 in 5 Canadian children going hungry?
Or the native children who were experimented on.
Or, mass graves beside residential schools.
We don't want to talk about that. There's a royal baby.
Yes, look, a panda. No, a baby. No, something else. Justin Bieber, who cares? This is Independent Media. I'm Darren Howard.
And I'm Robert Nisbet.
Please stay tuned. And remember, if you want to live a happy life, turn the television off. Stay tuned. We got more coming. Hang on.
A lot of people think poverty is a problem for other people in other neighborhoods. But even if you or no one you know is ever affected by poverty, not doing anything about poverty is costing us all. British Columbia has the highest poverty rate in Canada. Not addressing this comes at a price. And this is what it looks like when we do the math. For starters, it costs us $1.2 billion per year to pay for the healthcare costs related to poverty. We've heard a lot lately about how we need to get tough on crime. But some crime could be prevented by reducing poverty, which is linked to crimes of desperation, low literacy rates, and living in unsafe situations. The poverty-related costs of crime in BC add up to $745 million per year. Then, there's the income that the poor might have earned from working, if they had access to better supports and training. Or the income that the working poor could have earned, if their jobs paid better wages. This is also a loss to our economy, to the collective wealth of our society. And it adds up to as much as $7.3 billion per year. Altogether, it works out to between $8 and $9 billion every year. This is a terrible deal. And the worst part of this is that it would cost us between $3 and $4 billion per year to put an effective poverty reduction plan in place. That's less than half of what poverty is costing us now. You don't have to be an economist to see that it costs more to keep people in poverty than it does to fix the problem. It's just simple math. Not for other people in other neighborhoods, but for all of us.